Whatnot is an online live streaming platform and marketplace that enables collectors and enthusiasts to connect, buy, and sell verified products. Like this authentic Louis Vuitton wallet that I just found on Whatnot. On every online marketplace, this sells for several $100s. It is in pristine condition, date code, 100% authentic and verified. I get it on Whatnot for $49. 49 bucks. Whatnot isn't the first live selling platform, and they're certainly not the only live selling platform, but they are doing it the best. In today's video, I'm gonna unpack every detail of how and why you should be buying on Whatnot. Alrighty. Let's start with the elephant in the room. Is it legit? Is Whatnot a scam? As a buyer, the lure of $1 starts and auctions and the potential to get an item from my collection at a really low price is super enticing. But am I gonna get scammed by Joe in his basement who never ships out my product? Like, I don't even know Joe. How could I trust him? How do I know what sellers to buy from and what sellers not to buy from on Whatnot? I get it. As a new or potential Whatnot buyer, you have lots of questions, and I feel like I am uniquely posed to answer those questions because not only have I purchased hundreds of items from Whatnot, I've sold thousands of items on Whatnot. I am not only a Whatnot buyer, I'm a seller there also. What's even better, this video is not sponsored. I'm not speaking from a script. I'm speaking and giving advice today based off of my own experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly ones while using the Whatnot app. If after hearing my experiences today, you feel like shopping on Whatnot is right for you, I do have a referral code down in the description. I'd like to share it with you today because if you've never had a Whatnot account and you create one using that referral code, Whatnot's gonna give you $15 free to spend on anything on the app. That would have made this like 34 bucks. So is Whatnot a scam? No. Whatnot has measures and buyer protections in place to ensure that every time you order something, you get exactly what you paid for. And that is 100% authentic 100% of the time, or your money back. Seriously, Whatnot doesn't allow counterfeit products to be sold on their site. And there are options to report any seller or item you see that is counterfeit, fake, a dupe, a replica, inspired by, or in any way inauthentic. I have personally ordered Chanel, Gucci, Hermes, Louis Vuitton, Dior, YSL, Coach, and other highly counterfeited brands from Whatnot, and I have never received a fake item. And don't say that you know of, because I'm something of an authentication expert and I would know if I received a fake item. Every item I've ever received from Whatnot has been authentic. As Lego collectors, we've ordered lots of Lego from Whatnot also, and again, all of it has been authentic. I've ordered sterling silver and turquoise jewelry, vintage Barbie items. Everything I've ever ordered has been exactly as the seller described it in the live stream. But let's be honest, it can't be 100% sunshine 100% of the time. So what happens on Whatnot when it rains? I once spent over $100 in one live stream with a seller. I bought like 15 items and she only mailed me one. I contacted the seller right away and pretty quickly she discovered that she had inadvertently sent the items I purchased to another buyer in the same stream whose name was also Rachel. As I stated before, I'm a seller on the app, so I definitely wanted to work things out with her. The options were a full refund or her replacing the items, but after a little while, she stopped responding to my messages altogether. Using the Whatnot systems that are in place, I contacted their support, and not only did they give me a full refund, they also issued me a credit for a giveaway that I won from her that also was not shipped. If you've ever attempted to contact support via an online marketplace, you know how hard it can be to reach an actual human. Well, I can tell you anytime I've ever reached out to Whatnot, I get a human response the first time to every question I've ever had there. So no, Whatnot is not a scam. Yes, Whatnot is legit. There are less than stellar sellers on every online marketplace. The key is buying from online marketplaces who will stand in the gap between the buyer and seller should something go wrong. And every experience that I've had with Whatnot tells me that they will do just that. So then how do you buy on Whatnot? First, you want to download the app. The platform does have a desktop site, but trust me, to experience the platform in full and everything it has to offer, download the app. Don't create a profile yet. If you do, you're literally leaving $15 on the table. After you've downloaded the app, but before you create a profile, click the link in the description. That is going to take you to the Whatnot setup via my referral link, in which Whatnot gives you $15 free to spend on anything on the app. Then you can set up your profile. Now, Whatnot's gonna ask what types of categories that you wanna follow, what types of things you're into. That's gonna help a lot in curating the page and the experience just for you. Whatnot is growing all the time, and there are currently 39 main categories, 39, each with its own subcategory. Some categories are super broad and basic, like streetwear or sneakers, but some are incredibly niche, like K-pop or kawaii. There are some Whatnot categories that I bet Whatnot sellers don't even know are on there, like snacks and candy and makeup. If you're interested in knowing what types of items are in the makeup category on Whatnot, be sure that you're subscribed, because I am about to do the biggest Whatnot makeup haul on YouTube. I'm just gonna put it out there. The biggest Whatnot makeup haul that you've ever seen. It's the next video coming out on the channel, so be sure you are subscribed. You don't want to miss that one. To explore all of the categories and not just the ones that Whatnot pre-set up for you, from the homepage, click the square that is made up of 4 dots in the upper left corner. Then click all categories. From here, you can scroll through all of the categories. You can click on subcategories. You can even click the plus sign to follow specific categories if you'd like to see more shows from that category show up on your homepage. If you click into a category that has current live streamers live streaming, you can click the thumbnail to join that show. The red live shows that the show is live, and the number shows how many people are currently viewing that show. If a show is scheduled but not yet live, you'll see a gray box with the date and time that that show is scheduled to go live. If you want Whatnot to notify you when that show does go live, then click the circle in the upper right of the thumbnail. That's what's called bookmarking a show, and Whatnot will send you notification when that show and that seller go live. Now that you found some categories you're interested in, how do you know what sellers to buy from? How do you know who's trustworthy? First of all, keep in mind that while you're dealing with individual sellers, Whatnot is the marketplace here. They're the powerhouse driving every transaction. Individual sellers are never going to see your payment information, your payment details, your card number, your bank information, your PayPal details, none of that. Sellers will never see that information. In fact, Whatnot has contracted PayPal to process all of the payments, to handle everything, to ensure that it is safe and secure, and the seller pays all of those processing fees. So as a buyer, you can use your debit card, your credit card, your PayPal on a safe and secure transaction. Here's a really good example of a trusted, safe, and secure seller to buy from. We're just gonna click into his profile here. So I'm gonna click the profile picture, that round photo right above the live stream. That brings us right into his profile. From here, I can see that Chris has a solid 5-star rating, and that is after selling over 30,000 items. He has over 13,000 followers, and Whatnot even tells us that he ships within 3 days. I can even click reviews and read real statements from real customers of his. I can see everything that went right, which seems like a lot here, and I can see the few things that went wrong, like Brenda not being satisfied with the way he taped her box. It's easy to see that this is a seller that I could trust and enjoy shopping from. But don't let a huge following encourage you, or the lack thereof, to sway you away from shopping with a particular Whatnot seller. Here's a great example of a seller I have personally purchased from. She has 670 followers. She has sold over 305 items with a perfect 5-star rating, and she ships within 1 day. I've never had any issue with this seller, and if I were to pick out Whatnot sellers just based off of a huge following on the app, I would miss out on a seller like this who is growing to her thousands of followers. Get in on following Whatnot sellers like this before their following grows into the thousands. The same is true when you see live shows. Remember how I told you can see the amount of people that are in a show? Well, you're more likely to get a really good deal if that viewer count is low. So consider shopping those shows that have 20 or fewer people in them. You can get some really great deals. The biggest thing I want you guys to remember is don't feel like you need to personally vet every seller before you shop from them. Whatnot, as a responsible marketplace, has already done that for you. Not everyone is allowed to sell on Whatnot. Many people apply and are denied. Whatnot has a vetting process. They are ensuring, again, that you're gonna get exactly the item that as it was described to you in its authentic condition, or your money back. It's just that easy. There's no reason to be scared to shop on Whatnot. Once you're in a show and you're ready to buy, there are a few things that you need to know before you make your first purchase. First and foremost, when you're in a show, you can click the blank space up above the item, above the chat where there is no text. drag your finger to the left, and this erases the chat. This is going to take away the item details, and this is also going to prevent you from any accidental purchases or clicking the buy now or the bid button. Allows you a little bit of practice in watching a show before you're ready to actually buy. If you're ever in a show and the chat is kind of getting in the way of the item that the seller is showing, this is also a really good way to get a much clearer view of what the seller is showing. While in a show, if you swipe up, you're actually going to move to the next show in progress. So try to avoid swiping up, especially if you're bidding on an item. Just remember, while you're in a live auction, anytime you touch the screen, you're performing some type of function. Accidental bids are still bids and they're binding, so be careful. Don't drop the phone. Don't let your kid have your phone. Don't set the phone down in the passenger seat or on the dashboard while you're driving. You shouldn't be using your phone while you're driving anyway. But these are all examples that I've seen people say how they accidentally bid on an item. Have full control of your phone. Don't touch the screen unless you aim to bid. Second of all, there are two ways that sellers can offer an item within a live show. Some of those items are available to purchase at a set price. Those are called buy it now or bin items. Once in a show, click the little store icon with the yellow circle around it. That's going to open up the seller's shop for the show. Now we can see all of the items that are offered in this show by category, including auction, buy it now. You can even see past and future giveaways and any items that you may have purchased from the seller during this show. Any items offered in the buy it now, you can either buy right away at the seller's asking price, or you can even make an offer to the seller and they will respond to that offer in real time during the live show. If you see an item in the auction tab and you don't want to miss when it goes live, click that little bell notification right beside the item. And again, Whatnot's going to notify you when the seller pulls up that item and it's ready to be ran. When a seller is auctioning an item, they can choose a traditional auction. Anytime that an item is bid on within the last 10 seconds, the clock will automatically go back to 10 seconds. So if the item receives a bid with 7 seconds left, it now has 10 seconds left. If the item receives a bid with 1 second left, we now have 10 seconds left. This prevents buyers from coming in and swiping the item at the last minute, although that can be super exciting and leads me to the next way that a seller may auction an item. The seller can auction an item via sudden death. If you see the skull emoji near the clock, that means that this item is being ran via sudden death. When an item is auctioned off sudden death, every second counts and the clock will not add any seconds. Even if someone comes in at the last quarter second and makes a bid, they can swipe that item from you. That's more the style auction that we're used to in eBay auctions, and that may excite you as a buyer if you are a swiper. It's a celebrated way to win an item. It's definitely very exciting and adds intense emotion to the buying process. For every auction, the seller sets the auction duration time. That can be anywhere from 3 seconds to 90 seconds. And yes, 3-second sudden death auctions do exist. I was in one of those shows recently, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't like it at all. So I was in the beauty category and I was trying to buy some Olaplex. I wanted some Olaplex number 3 and I was willing to pay $35 a bottle, but the seller had 3-second sudden death auctions. I tried to enter custom bids, but I didn't even have time to enter my bid before the bottles were sold. And every time they sold for $20 or $25. They consistently sold for less than what I was willing to pay, and the seller was losing money by doing these 3-second sudden death auctions. Now it could be that the seller just had really low cost of goods in this inventory and didn't care what the product sold for. I hope they didn't care what the product sold for, because again, I felt like they were losing quite a bit of money. We asked the seller to please increase it to at least 5-second auctions, and there were some people who were a little upset with that. They enjoyed those 3-second auctions, and I think that's because they had enough practice in custom bidding that they were able to get their bids in. And to be honest with you, the price of everything started going up substantially. So the buyers who were getting those items for $20 and $25, those of us who were willing to pay $30, $35, maybe even $40 for an item suddenly had the ability to, and these buyers didn't like that. Whatever auction mode you prefer, you're gonna find a Whatnot seller who sells just like that. And even when it's frustrating, the app is always fun. It's a really fantastic community. It's an exciting way to buy products. Now, if the item is a sudden death auction, it's a good idea to enter that custom bid. This puts your bid in up to a max amount and keeps you the high bidder up to that max amount as a proxy bid. When you're entering your custom bid, double, triple, quadruple check that it is in fact what you meant to bid before you enter it. If an item starts at $2 and while I'm entering my custom bid of $16, the item jumps to 20, that 20 sometimes populates in there. So I could accidentally bid $1,620 because you see that 20 stuck in there while I was entering my 16. Just be sure, you're sure that the custom bid that you're entering is in fact the amount that you want to custom bid before you click bid. Seriously, that's probably the most important thing I'm going to tell you is bid responsibly. All sales are final on Whatnot. Any cancellation requests are at the sole discretion of the seller. Many sellers will say no cancellations in this show and stand by that. I've seen a few sellers who welcome cancellations. As a seller on Whatnot, I've even accepted a few cancellations, but that's really frustrating when you run an item, there's a bidding war on the item, and then the person that bids it doesn't actually even want the item. Are the other backup bidders even still in the room? You can see why that would be extremely frustrating for a seller. So bid responsibly 100% of the time on Whatnot. I know it can get exciting when you're in an auction environment, but know what you're willing to pay for an item before you start bidding on it. That way you don't overpay. Let's say you accidentally finger swiped or you were watching Whatnot in bed and dropped the phone on your face and your nose hit the bid button. If you accidentally bid, again, it's up to the seller whether or not they're going to accept the cancellation. Many sellers would understand, but it depends on the circumstances and it's their discretion. Now, if a technical issue causes a glitch with the app and somehow you wind up being the high bidder because of a technical issue, you can contact Whatnot support via their support within 2 hours of that auction closing. It must be done within 2 hours, and that is only in the case of a technical glitch or some type of a technical issue. Again, Whatnot wants you to be a happy buyer, but they also want you to be a responsible bidder. To bid on an item once that item goes live, simply swipe the bid button in the lower right corner over to the right, and that is going to increase your bid. If the bids are flying, be sure what the bid amount is before you swipe. If any of this seems intimidating to you, then I would invite you to watch a few auctions before you bid. There's certainly no harm in that. You may miss out on a great deal or two, or seeing those things sell for really good prices may encourage you to save money with Whatnot, but definitely know that you can just tune into an auction and not be a buyer or a bidder. You can simply watch. Shipping cost varies with every auction, but it is always displayed right below the item description. Some sellers do offer free shipping, though I'll tell you that's not super common. People are already getting incredible deals on Whatnot, and the shipping is not truly free. So any shipping that is paid for by the seller is truly paid for by the seller. So don't expect to get $3 items with the buyer paying for your $5 shipping for free on top of that. Some sellers offer discounted or bundled rate, flat rate shipping, and oftentimes you can see that in a notification that is displayed at the top of the auction, or the seller may describe that in their show notes, which appears as a little post-it note at the top left corner of the auction page. Once you've purchased items, they're going to be shipped very quickly to you at the address that you already input, that you already selected before you entered that auction. You cannot change the address later. You can find your purchases by going to the homepage, click your profile in the bottom right corner, click the 2-line menu in the upper right corner. Under buying, scroll down to purchases, and here you're going to see all of the items that you've purchased. If you click to open a particular item, here you will be able to see if the item has shipped, and you're going to be able to track that item. You can also message the seller from here. Once an item is delivered to you, the status changes to pending review, and this is your opportunity to review that seller based off of their performance for future buyers to reference. If you experience any type of an issue with a purchase, this is also the page that you'll go to, and scroll down to the very bottom. Here you will see help for troubleshooting any problems, any errors with this purchase. This is your first step in reaching out to Whatnot if there's ever any trouble with a purchase or an order that you've made on Whatnot. I feel like watching this video should come with like a certificate of completion. Congratulations, you are certified to go shop on Whatnot to save all the money and grab some of these amazing deals for yourself. Again, and I cannot stress this enough, auctions are exciting, but you must bid responsibly. Thank you so much for watching this video. God bless.